Hi guys, this is Miss Checka, and I am very excited to talk to you because I am having a real life, actual Indiana Jones moment where I am standing in front of a secret, hidden pyramid. You might be super impressed with me right now, looking around like, oh, Miss Checka, it looks like you're in the middle of this very mysterious forest. Did you hike here for days? You're such an adventurous person. And the truth is, no, I cheated. I'm a big cheater, pumpkin eater. My cousin drove me here. I'm not just in Mexico, I'm in Mexico City. And I'm in one of the most densely populated areas in the city you'd never be able to tell. So Mexico City has 20 million people in it, which makes it especially hard to believe. My cousin told me, hey, guess what? I'm gonna show you in the middle of my city, there's this pyramid you've never heard of and that people didn't even know existed. I said, that cannot be possible. Literally, there are 20 million people living on top of each other. But in fact, here we are. And the deal is that Mexico City, it's a very, very old city. It's one of the oldest cities in the world, in addition to being like one of the biggest cities in the world. But when it was originally founded, it was in a lake. It's a lake bed surrounded by mountains. And on the mountains, there were all these little towns and villages. But over the course of time, the city has gotten so big that it has eaten up all of the little towns that are on the mountains. And I'm standing on one right now. So this mountain that I'm standing on has a name, which is a very cool name, but I had to practice it a lot because it is not in Spanish. It's in a language called Nahuatl. And the name of the hill or the mountain is Mazatépetl, and it means the place of deer, which really makes me wish that I was having a Snow White moment and there were deer all around me, but the deer socially reject me. But this mountain is called, it has this Nahuatl name, and the pyramid behind me was built by a people called the Tepanecas. So you may have noticed, like, both Tepaneca and Mazatépetl they don't sound like Spanish because they're not Spanish. They're indigenous languages spoken by indigenous people. So these are people who lived here for hundreds, thousands of years before anybody on this continent had even heard that there was such a place called Spain or a language called Spanish. So the Tepanecas built this pyramid in the 1200s, and then over the course of centuries, they got invaded and taken over, and there were invasions, and there are all kinds of political movements. So different cultures used the pyramids, but always it was a place that was very special and had a lot of spiritual significance to it. So if you walk around it, one of the things that is the coolest about it is that right in front, there's a giant stone animal, but it doesn't look like any animal you've ever seen in real life. It's actually a combination, you're not gonna believe this, turtle / jaguar. I know. I don't understand it, but I support it. I think it's crazy and kind of awesome. I can't tell you why exactly a turtle / jaguar, and I can't even tell you how exactly the Tepanecas or the Nahuatl or the Mexica use this pyramid, because nobody knows. Because, believe it or not, over the course of century, it just got lost to history. You can see around me that I am, in fact, even though I'm in the middle of the city, the vegetation here it's really dense. There's lots of trees, there's lots of forests, there's lots of vegetation, and over the course of centuries, the mountain kind of ate up the pyramid. Grass started growing on it, bushes, and all kinds of wildlife covered it up. And because it's literally the shape of a pyramid, it just looks like the top of a mountain. So in modern times, the people who lived here, whose ancestors had lived here for centuries and centuries, they knew through their oral tradition, through stories that were passed down, that there was something that was very special at the top of it, that was very spiritual, and they would still use it in their ceremonies, but nobody knew that there was an actual pyramid. And in fact, in the 1900s and the 1930s, people put these 3 crosses there. And crosses are, of course, they're Catholic. That's the religion that people practice here now. And guys, this makes total sense because all over the world, there's just something about mountains and humans and the human soul that we find a lot of spiritual connection on mountains. And all over the world, in many, many different cultures, people build churches and temples. Maybe it's because they're so high up and they're so close to the sky. I don't know. But even when cultures changed and religions changed, even when people became Catholic, they were still using this mountain for their religious ceremonies, not even knowing that there was a pyramid under there, which is wild. And something to note about those crosses is that they're not made of stone, they're made of wood. This isn't something like a government put down. This isn't something that was like super official. This is something that people from, just around here, they put for themselves personally. And the reason that I point that out is that in a lot of places in Mexico, places that originally had religious significance for the people who originally lived here, those got destroyed, and then very deliberately the Spanish would use even the actual stones to build Catholic churches on top of it. So it's sending a message that's not exactly like Christian brotherly love, and more like, hey, just in case you forgot that we are like completely like taking over your country and your culture, and like there's gonna be mass genocide, and we're gonna like put our religion, just in case you forget it, here, we're gonna, wipe out your temple and build a church on top of it. But this isn't that. This is not about like political power. This is about, people expressing their religious faith on top of something that was already very spiritual and very religious. And I guess the last thing is just to think about for a moment how truly magical it is that in the year 2000, so fully 800 years after the original Tepanecas built this building, an archaeologist, piecing together different sources and listening to people and studying and using his scholarship, he pulled a team together, and in the year 2000, dug it up, and boom, there it was the whole time. Very Indiana Jones moment. There is this beautiful pyramid, hiding underneath there. So that means that even though sometimes it feels like every mysterious thing in the world has already been solved, every adventure has already been had, there's still like really amazing mysteries out there for you and me to solve. Maybe you grow up and you're an archaeologist or a scholar, and you find something that has been, significant for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I hope that you do that, and if you do, I hope you tell me about it, and I'll come make a video. Miss Checka out.